Hello, yogis, and welcome to another edition of Hump Day Yoga. My name is Mimi. If this is your first time with us, today's practice is a little bit more gentler. I know I always say that with almost like an asterisk because it's always a dynamic level to my class. But I want this practice to encourage you to have a sense of softening and surrendering down because I think this week in particular. There's been a lot going on in the world. I think a lot of people are feeling really overwhelmed, angry, scared, uncertain, and I think yoga is a really good, safe place to come and process those feelings without judgment and to begin to understand them. And by doing this with this practice, we want to really let go of burdens that we're holding on that are unnecessary and invite instead a sense of fresh oxygen, fresh thought, renewal as we practice. As always, listen to your body, rest as often as you need to without feeling like you need to wait for me to invite you to. I have got the door open today for airflow because it's such a lovely sunny day, which means you'll probably maybe hear the dulcet tones of the kids that live on my estate or the sound of my wind chime maybe, but hopefully you'll still be able to follow along with my instructions. So let's get started. So today we're starting lying down on our mats. So position yourself so you're about in the middle of your mat. Use your arms to help roll your torso and your body down. And I'd like you to start today with the feet on the mat, quite a wide distance apart, and then allow your knees to knock together. Bring your head down onto the mat, neck nice and long, and then the arms are in a cactus-shaped position so that our elbows are in line with our shoulders and our fingers are pointing to the wall behind us. And then make any last little adjustments that you need to until you feel yourself completely settle down into this posture, patting the back of your head with a cushion or a blanket or a towel if you need. And then allow your eyes to softly close. And begin to bring some awareness to the breath. Just breathing gently in and out through the nose. Not trying to actively change or alter the breath just yet. Acknowledge for a moment the sense of support of the earth beneath you. Feel the contact of the soles of the feet to the mat. Feel your hips and your buttocks, your pelvis, feeling heavy and sinking down into the earth. Notice which areas of the spine and the back are contacting your mat, particularly through the rib cage and the shoulder blades. Become aware of that contact of the outside edge of your arms, hand and fingers into the floor. And the back of your skull, supported beneath you by the earth or by that cushion or blanket or towel. Take 3 really deep breaths in and out. With every exhale, allow for a gusty sigh to come out through the mouth, just in your own time. Twice more. Softly close the mouth once more. Feel that you've really allowed yourself to completely sink and surrender down into the embrace of the earth. And then conversely become aware and mindful of the sensation of the air around you as it touches the surface of your skin, your clothes, and the sense of space around you as well. Take a moment to remind yourself that here in this moment you are in a safe space. Here there is nothing that can hurt you. You feel supported, but also open. Allow yourself to feel any feelings that might crop up either now or at any point during your practice. Acknowledging that this is your moment to process, whatever needs to be processed. Every exhalation at any point during your practice is an invitation to let go of whatever you don't need to go. To let go of whatever you don't need anymore. Yeah, let go of that tension. Let go of any burdens that you might be holding. And every inhalation is an invitation to breathe in hope, a sense of physical lightness, levity. Inhale hope and kindness. Basically to take in whatever you need to take in from your practice today. Processing whatever needs to be processed. And then we'll begin our practice with a very simple spinal twist. So the eyes can still stay closed here, and you might like to open them. As you exhale, take your knees all the way towards the right side of your mat and turn the gaze to look to the left. Inhale, we take the gaze and the knees back to center. And then exhale, knees go to the left and the head turns to the right. And then you can just take that as a flow in your own time, inhaling back to center and then exhaling into the twist. And if you feel like you'd like to hold in the twist for a few breaths, you can. Or if you prefer to keep maintaining that flow and really just luxuriating and appreciating that sense of massage through the back and the hips and the buttocks and that gentle stretch and spiral through the body, then do so. Good. Lovely. Then if somebody you exhale the knees to the left, let that be your last flow. Inhale, knees back to center. And then we'll lengthen the left leg out now and draw the right knee in nice and close to the chest. So imagine that the back of your left thigh is melting down into the floor, toes pointed, and it's an active bicep curl as you draw that right knee in towards the chest as we stretch through our hip flexors. Keep the face and the neck nice and soft. Holding here for a few breaths. Perhaps taking some circles of the feet and the ankles, a few times to the right and a few times to the left. And I'd really like you to be encouraged to feel a sense of softness and gentleness and surrender in your practice today. One more deep breath in and exhale. We lengthen the right leg out and draw the left knee in on the inhale. And again, we imagine that the back of the right thigh now is melting down towards the mat, toes pointed. Draw the left knee in towards the chest. Active bicep curl through the arms, but the chest and the neck and the face is soft. We hold here for a few breaths. Perhaps again circling the left foot. A few times to the left and then a few times to the right before returning to stillness. And then we'll bring that left foot down. We're going to come into a bit of a banana stretch. So we want to take our hips towards the left side of our mat and then our feet towards the right side of the mat. And you're taking your left foot and placing it over the right ankle. And at the same time, the torso angles slightly to the right. We reach the arms above our head and you're holding the left wrist with your right hand. So you're mimicking a huge banana shape on the floor. When you first get here, you might not feel very much. It's a very subtle, gentle stretch, and that's the point. Just move yourself into this comfortable little banana curve and then hold there and let the stretch slowly develop. As you continue to breathe in and out through the nose, you might begin to feel a stretch in through the front of the left hip, or perhaps through the lower left torso, particularly into our psoas muscle, which runs from the pelvis in towards the rib cage. You might be feeling it more in around the left arm and the left armpit today. But wherever you are, try to really relax into this posture. Again, our focus is really on this play of surrendering and letting go of any unnecessary tension today, so that when we do move into our more active postures, there's a sense of release and of flying and of feeling really open and broad. Let's take it to the other side. release the torso and then the legs, and we move over to the other way. So the hips and the pelvis move towards the right side of the mat. You extend the legs back out, and it's the right ankle now hooking on top of the left. And then the torso moves towards the left side of the mat. You extend the arms above the head, and this time you're holding onto your right wrist with your left hand. And if you're doing the opposite side to me, don't stress, just make sure you're evening it off. And the head can turn to the left as well, if that feels nice. Again, holding for a few breaths here. Letting the stretch slowly surface. It's like something slowly rising to float at the surface of a still body of water. Just let it slowly happen. I'm not trying to create ripples or waves here. Nice deep breaths in. And then when you're ready to release, we release the hand and the feet. We bring ourselves back in towards the center of our mat, transitioning into happy baby now. So the knees come in towards the chest, and we're bringing the soles of the feet up towards the sky. Holding onto the outside edge of perhaps the shin or the ankles with the hands, or the outside edges of the feet. You should feel, though, that you can draw your shoulder blades back down towards the mat. Let's keep the gaze directly up towards the ceiling. And imagine that you're actively pressing the soles of the feet onto the ceiling, and that is helping you to trigger the knees to draw a little closer to the chest. Deep breath in as you exhale. Perhaps you can drop your tailbone a little closer towards the floor so that you're decompressing through your lower back. And then feel free to hold it here as a static posture, or if you like, you might take a very soft, subtle rock from side to side. Again, noticing that sense of massage through the lower back, and also up now in towards the upper back in between the shoulders. And then we'll slowly come back to center if we were rocking. We'll move through a couple of little baby ab curls. So we'll release the hands and flex the wrists so that the palms are pressing up towards the sky. You want to imagine that you have a little bit of paint or charcoal on the knee joints, and you want to trace a line along the back of your upper arm as you move through the curl so that the arms stay nice and close to the knees. So deep breath in, and then as you exhale, we curl up, bringing the upper arm up along the knee, and then we come back down. So you'll notice it's a real sense of bringing yourself up rather than through the legs. So I don't want to see you trying to reach towards the wall behind you, or in front of you, I should say. I want you to think about reaching up. So we're working through this little tucking motion that we use for our arm balances. And it's really about quality over quantity here. So just moving through about 6 or 8 repetitions. In your own time, exhaling to come up, inhaling to release back down, trying to keep the jaw and the face soft. Drawing the navel in towards the back of the spine, hollowing out through the belly as much as you can. And then when you're ready and you're done, we completely release back down. We draw the knees in towards the chest, wrap the arms around the legs, give yourself a little hug and squeeze, maybe a rock from side to side. And then to come to seated, you can perhaps roll over onto one side and then use your hands to help press you up. Or if you prefer, you can take a few little rocks along your vertebrae, massaging through the spine to come to seated. Once you're there, either rock out over the knees or take the feet to one side. And then slowly bring yourself to your tabletop position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips, hip-width distance apart. Really spread out through the fingertips and actively press the floor away from you. We're moving through a free-form version of our Bidalasana today, our cat-cow. And by that, it really just means you're exploring your own motions and moving into the stretch in a way that feels nice for you, working out any kinks in the spine. So it's sometimes nice to start with your more traditional cat-cow first, and then from there you move freely. So as you inhale, you tilt the tailbone towards the sky, draw the chest slightly through the arms, and then lift the gaze slightly. Exhale, tuck your tailbone under, arch through the spine, chin to chest. Keep that little bit of safety through the elbows by not looking into the joints. Inhale back. And then this is where we begin to move freely. So there is really no right or wrong here, as long as you're keeping your joints safe and you're not putting yourself into any pressure or pain. Inhaling and exhaling as you see fit. Maybe you'd like to circle your hips a few times to the right and a few times to the left. Maybe you want to feel like you're snaking through the movement, bending and straightening your arms as you need to. Just moving freely. And if you want to return to your more traditional cat-cow for a few rounds before you move on again, feel free to do so. Close down the eyes perhaps and just notice where you're feeling the kinks in your body today and where the movement feels nicest. What's giving you a sense of release, relaxation, and massage. Good. Now when you're ready to stop, slowly returning back to your neutral starting tabletop position. Bring your hands out a little further away from your shoulders. Tuck your toes under. Exhale, feel as though you're pressing the earth away from you as if it was a broken down car to come to your first downward facing dog. Readjust the feet and hands as you need to. Feet are a little bit wider than hip width. Hands are just as wide as the mat, maybe even a little wider. And then when you're ready, you can slowly begin to walk your dog. Alternate heel presses, bending the right knee as you take left heel towards the mat, and then swapping over, left heel comes down, a wee bit right. Maybe even bringing a little bit of movement in towards the hips, if that feels nice. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale to the balls of both feet to come to a nice high downward facing dog. Maybe working towards straightening the legs if that's comfortable for you, but it's more important to have a straight spine here so the knees can bend. Glue your tailbone where it is in the sky. And as you take an exhale, take a big gusty sigh out, and feel your heels really effortlessly melt towards the floor. Gravity doing all the work here. From here, we'll take a little flow so that as we inhale forwards, we come to our full plank. Pressing out through the backs of the shoulder blades. And then as you exhale, imagine someone scooping out your tailbone and your pelvis through a fish hook. Taking this for a few more rounds. We inhale forward, weight into the hands, and then exhale, we come back up. So just taking that as your own personal flow in your own time. Inhale to come forwards. Exhale to come back. Just letting your breath dictate the movement. So moving as fast or as slow as it dictates. Adjusting the hands if your mat's a little slippery. Inhale forwards. And then exhale back. Good. After your next exhale back to downward facing dog, keep rotating those shoulders out up the spine. And then when you're ready, slowly begin to walk the feet in closer to the hands until you come to your first standing forward fold. The feet are about hip width distance apart, knees nice and bent. Feel that the belly is resting on the thighs, so the knees can be bent here. Take a few nods and shakes of the head just to release any tension you might be holding there. Good. And then when you're ready, bend the knees even further than they already are. Engage through your core muscles. Begin to slowly roll up through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Really smooth and steady. Inhaling up shoulders. And then head last as you come to Tadasana. So as you come to Tadasana, choosing your stance, whether you want to remain with your feet hip width distance apart, or perhaps traditional Tadasana, toes touching, heels slightly apart. Wherever you are, toes spread wide, weight even through all four corners of the feet. There's no right or wrong stance for Tadasana, it's just your personal preference. Engage through the tops of your thighs, drawing your kneecaps up towards your hips. Feel the tailbone naturally drop down towards the floor as the crown of the head lifts towards the sky. Take your hands to prayer heart center. We'll move through 3 rounds of extended heart breaths. So as we inhale, we draw the arms apart, really opening up through the heart center and lifting the gaze slightly, stretching through the arms. Exhale, the hands come back to prayer. Inhale, big open heart breath. Feeling like you're growing right from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head and from the tips of the fingers to your heart center. Exhale, we return back. Last time, deep breath in. Exhale, this time as we come back, we'll begin to fold down, bending knees as we need to, extending through the crown of the head back to Uttanasana. Inhale to a halfway lift, hands coming to shins and working your way to a flat back position. Before you exhale to begin to slowly walk those hands out now into, or your feet, if you're at the top of your mat, into your full plank. Drop the knees softly towards the mat, keep the elbows tight to the body, and exhale, slowly come down all the way to the mat. So once you've lowered down, bring your elbows directly underneath your shoulders, fingers pointing towards the wall in front of you, working into our Sphinx posture. Pressing the tops of the feet and the pubic bone down into the floor. We activate our core muscles so that we feel like we're trying to lift our belly button up off the floor. And we open and broaden through the heart center, relaxing through shoulders, through neck and through face. We'll hold here for a few breaths. So because we can't breathe so much into the belly here, try to breathe a little bit more in towards the back of your upper back. Maybe even a little bit into the lower back. And then exhale, softly lower down, bringing the hands down so that they're underneath the shoulders. Press a little bit of pressure into the knees so that you can inhale through your half plank. Exhale, take the weight back, tuck your toes under that, and then press back into downward facing dog. Keep rotating the shoulders out and up the spine, away from your ears. When you're ready, inhale the right leg up nice and high. Exhale, scoop the knee towards the head so you can lightly land the right foot at the top of the mat in between your hands. We're lowering the back left knee now, and if you do want to pad it with a cushion or a blanket, feel free to do so. Walk the foot out as far as you need to, and then relax into your supported low lunge. Good. Inhale, come up for a moment into your open cactus arms. Opening and broadening through the heart center, softening through the collarbones. And then as you exhale, take the hands back down towards the mat, and then walk that right foot out so that the feet are at about a 45-degree angle, knee pointing out over toes still. So staying here in this supported lizard variation, keeping the back of the neck long. Again, I want you to play with this sense of letting go and surrendering. So let go of any tension you might be feeling around the hip flexors, hips, buttocks, anywhere in the spine. A little bit of engagement still through the core, of course. And then this might be strong enough for you, or you might like to begin to bend through the elbows and draw the elbows down towards the mat. Again, relax through the back of your neck. Keep a sense of awareness between this right shoulder and the right knee. So it can be tempting to really open up here. But in this variation, I want you to feel like there's a little connection of energy line here, keeping them drawn together. And we'll hold for a number of breaths here, really trying to get the full benefit of the stretch. Let go of any tension you might be feeling around the face. Then to release, we inhale to look forward, walk those hands back in. Walk the right foot back onto the inside edge of the right hand. Tuck your back toes under, and then press back into downward facing dog. If you have a prop that's going to disturb your vinyasa flow, you can move it slightly out of the way. And then when you're ready, let's inhale forward to full plank. Again, maybe we just want to stay here. Or perhaps you exhale and drop the hips till they're just hovering off the mat. Toes stay tucked under, variation of your upward dog as you inhale. Exhale, press back through the hands, lifting the hips high to come to downward facing dog. Same variation on the left. Inhale, left leg up nice and high. Exhale, scoop the left knee towards the head so you can lightly line the left foot at the front. Again, we pad the back right knee if we need to. Walk this foot as far forward as you need to so the ankle's directly underneath your knee. Exhale. Press down through the supporting foot. Inhale, arms up, and then exhale, them into your cactus. Again, there's that sense of opening and broadening through the chest here. Before you exhale to soften back down, walk your left foot out, left hand on the inside edge, toes at about a 45-degree angle. And then again, take a moment to settle here. Allow this left hip to open and soften fast. Back of the neck long and relaxed, face soft. Only when you feel ready should you begin to bend through the arms, perhaps taking those elbows down onto the mat. And again, there's that sense of connection now between left shoulder and left knee. So don't let the knee completely rock out to the side. Keep the sole of the foot firmly grounding down into the mat. And it's like the knee and the shoulder are having a little conversation. Whilst the rest of your body relaxes and softens, surrendering down towards the floor. Couple of nice deep breaths in and out here. The Ujjayi practice is a familiar part of your practice. Outwardable constricted breath, you might like to bring it in here. Particularly good if you are feeling a bit fatigued or if you're feeling a little run down. I just find that the Ujjayi breath is very cleansing. It can help to get rid of that negative energy that's sort of sitting here at the chest. When you're ready to release, inhale, take those hands back in, walk the left foot back into the internal edge of your arms, tuck your back toes under, and then press back into downward facing dog. Again, adjust and move that prop out of the way if you need to. So I'd really like to invite you to move through any vinyasa flow that you like today, whether that's half plank, cobra, or full chaturanga. I'm going to stick those today with my variation that I did just before, which is inhaling forward to full plank, exhaling to lower the hips, and inhale to open and broaden the chest. And then exhale to press back. Good. Hold here for a few breaths in your downward dog, maintaining that alignment. So I'm working with that vinyasa flow that we just did today because I find it's the best for really opening and broadening through the chest and the heart center. Particularly if you know that you do struggle to lower through your half plank or through chaturanga, you still get that full benefit of an open heart stretch like you do in your upward dog, but it's a simpler, gentler transition. When we're ready to move on, we'll inhale the right leg up nice and high. Exhale, scoop it to the front of the mat in between those hands. This time we keep the back leg straight, engage through the core muscles, press through the sole of the right foot as we inhale to come up. So we're in our high lunge now, arms reaching up towards the sky. I'm going to drop this arm though so I can talk to you. I want you to think about drawing the hips towards the front of your mat and imagine that you're stretching the mat apart with your legs. Inhale to lift and lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, take your hands to a cactus shape position and just slowly drop that back left knee towards the floor. It doesn't come all the way down, it's hovering slightly above. We'll take a simple little spiral flow twist so that as we exhale, we reach the right hand back, to grasp onto the thigh or the calf of the back leg, and we reach up through the left arm to take that spiral through the torso. Inhale to come back up. So you might want to play with your breath, maybe try a few times by exhaling to come back, and then inhaling to come up. And then maybe for your next variation, you'd like to play with inhaling as you come back, and then exhaling to come back up. Choose your own breathing patterns today. It's your practice, it's your journey. But every time that we come back, try to make sure that you're not sinking too much into this backhand. It's really just an anchor point as you take that internal twist and reach, looking back towards the back left heel. The next time that you come back up, let that be your last one. Exhale to take both hands back down towards the mat, framing the front leg, and then we press back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Perhaps holding your downward dog if that feels right for your practice. Maybe even take a couple of breaths in your child's pose today. If you want to keep building that heat, then we inhale forward to full plank. Exhale, lower the hips so they're just hovering off the mat. Inhale, variation of upward dog. Exhale, we press back. And when you're ready, we'll take this on the left side. So we inhale the left leg up nice and high. Exhale, scoop it to the front of the mat in between the hands. Frame the front leg, engage through the core, press your sole of left foot. Inhale up, high lunge. Really feeling that lovely stretch through the front of the right thigh. Exhale, reach the mat away, stretching it with the legs. When you're ready, you take that little bit of a bend in the back leg, bringing your arms to cactus. Same flow on the left. So I find that it was nice to inhale to come back personally. So I'm going to inhale, bringing my left hand towards the back of my right thigh, looking towards the back right heel as my right arm reaches up towards opposite corner. And then, exhale to come back. Inhale to spiral. Exhale to come back. So it's not a huge movement, but we just want to get that little bit of an extra stretch through the torso. Maybe keep bend that leg a little bit more as you come back. Good. Once more. Exhale to come back up. Take those hands to the mat, framing the front leg, and then press back into downward facing dog. Again, feel free to hold here for a few breaths. Or maybe we inhale forward. We exhale to lower the hips till they're hovering just off the floor. Bring the weight forward into those arms. Exhale, press back down, facing dog. Good. So for this next sequence, we will be starting off by flying into our warrior 3. And I do encourage you to fly, because we'll only be holding for a few moments. So don't feel like you need to come to supported warrior 3. I've just changed my position because of the leg that I'm using. So when I'm ready, I'm going to inhale my right leg up nice and high. Exhale, scoop it to the front of the mat in between the hands. From here, I stabilize from my core and I square off my hips. Then I retract back, bending my back leg slightly, straightening my front ever so slightly. And then from here, I launch off that back leg to fly. So I'm lifting my left leg up nice and high, and I'm reaching forward with my arms. Very open and broad through the chest. I imagine I've got those helium balloons attached to the back of my left thigh. My hips square, left hip drawing down level with the right. Right thigh very engaged, drawing right kneecap up towards the hip. Good. Very strong through the core, abdominal muscles engaged. And then on my next exhalation, I softly lower that left foot back down towards the mat, grounding down through the hands. Then I'm bringing this right leg through, threading it through, to come into deer posture. So I'm creating this L shape position with my legs, rotating the left leg in internally as I rotate my right leg externally out, pressing out through the heels of both feet. Now, you might like to inhale and focus on lengthening through the spine, coming into this spiral motion as you twist towards the right, looking over the right shoulder. Or you might like to exhale and begin to fold forward from the hips, lowering the torso and then the forehead towards the floor. So having a play with both options. You might like to move between the two. The first option focuses a little bit more on the spine, and then the second a little bit more on the stretch through the legs as you release through your lower back. Both options are great. If you folded forward, slowly begin to bring your hands back in now so that you're upright, which will be together now. And then as you exhale, press through the left heel and let that transition you into Upavista Konasana, or your wide V-leg posture. So everyone's V will be a different size. Choose the width that feels right for you and your pelvis. Take your hands behind you and press down through fingertips. Toes reaching up towards the sky and the tops of the thighs are engaged. Inhale to lift and lengthen, then as you exhale, begin to fold forward from the hips. And I really encourage you to not come too far forward here, just a very small hinge. Be really open and broad through the front of the chest and try to keep your spine as straight or as neutral as possible. Really actively engaging through the thighs, core muscles engaged. Perhaps on your next exhalation you can find a little bit more surrender, even if that's just a 0.5 millimeter. And then inhale, bring your torso back upright, bring this right leg in, and I appreciate that it looks like your left, but bring your right leg in to meet the left. And from here, we're going to pivot onto our left and come into a side plank, whether that's full side plank with the right foot stacking on top of the left, or lowering the left leg underneath you for supported side plank. Wherever you are, though, the arms are reaching up towards the wall to your left. Hold for a breath or two here. Again, feeling like you're flying, energy putting out through your fingers and toes, and then exhale, take your right hand back down towards the mat so that you can come to full plank, and then we'll simply come back, this time into downward facing dog. Hold for a few breaths here. Good. Resting as you need to into child's posture, but hopefully we're able to hold and continue to build endurance there. And appreciating that sense of openness that we now feel through the body. I'm just changing directions again, just so you can see a little bit more easily what I'm doing. As we move on to the left side, so we inhale to take left leg up nice and high, exhale, scoop it to the front of the mat in between those hands. Square off the hips, retract back, and then inhale, fly. Good. So often with Warrior Three, you see a lot of emphasis on trying to keep the torso parallel with the floor, but it's actually nice to feel as though you're growing out through that supporting leg and lifting just as much through that back leg as through the front torso. Good. Lovely. Next exhalation, we softly lower the right ball of the foot back down towards the mat. And we ground the hands back down. And now it's the left leg, which is going to thread through to release into your deer posture. So again, we externally rotate out through the left leg, internally rotate through the right. We're forming a big capital L shape through the legs. Fingers in front, inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, see if you can just deepen the twist slightly, looking towards your left shoulder. Keep on engaging through those core muscles here to protect your lower back as you move into the spiral. Perhaps you're holding there, or perhaps you exhale and then fold forward, releasing the heart center down. Perhaps the forehead rests onto two pillowed hands. If you have folded forward, again, just like at the start of the class, I want you to think about surrendering down to the floor, feeling its embrace and support. Yeah. Let go of any burdens you're carrying. Just really be present here in this moment. When you're ready to come out, we inhale to bring ourselves back up. And now the right leg, I know it looks like my left, but it's your right, presses the right heel out so that we come into this Upavista Konasana, wide leg angle, wide V angle. Hands again come behind, inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, deepen to come into the fold. Now you might find that now we've done that little warm up, you're already coming a lot more deeply into the posture. Again, take care that you're staying nice and neutral through the spine, that you're not letting your upper body hunch in an effort to come forwards. One of the reasons why I like keeping the hands behind, because it really forces you to open and broaden as much as you can through the chest. And to not let your hands and your arms do any unnecessary work here. It's all about gravity and the contraction of your core. And hold for a couple more breaths. If you really like to, the hands can come, of course, to hold onto the ankles, but again, make sure you haven't lost any of that openness in the heart center. And when you're ready to come up, inhale, bring your torso back upright. Now it's the left leg, your left leg, so it's the opposite of what it looks like on your screen. The left leg comes in to join the right, right hand comes behind, and then we inhale up into side plank. Supported side plank, of course, with the right knee underneath us, if that feels best. And otherwise, feel again like you're flying. Energy pointing out from the fingertips to the heels of the feet. Before you exhale to come into your full plank, and then press back into downward facing dog. Take a couple of nods and shakes of the head, just to release any tension you might be feeling there. And then let's all drop our knees down towards the mat. Take a few breaths in our full child's posture. Hands coming beside the body, elbows bending, forehead reaching towards the floor. And we're just going to hold there for a few breaths. So because that sequence was a bit of an around the world sequence, tricky to follow on screen, I know. So you might have watched that and thought, I think I get that, but I kind of missed it in the moment. So maybe it's worth pausing the video for a second and trying it again on your own time. Or just rewinding and trying again. But I think it's nice sometimes to change the orientation on your mat, so that we're not always staying in this one rigid orientational protocol. It's nice to move a little bit more freely through the space, coming off the mat perhaps, before you come back onto it. When we're ready to move on, we'll inhale, take those hands back to extended child's posture, reaching towards the top of your mat. Inhale to come back to hands and knees. Exhale, tuck your toes under, press back to downward facing dog. From here, bend those knees slightly and walk, or perhaps even jump the feet towards the hands. Inhale to a halfway lift, whether that's fingertips or hands coming to shins, flat back position. Exhale, soften and fold back to Uttanasana, standing forward fold. And notice the difference between this fold and the fold you completed at the start of the class. Appreciate the openness that you've created through the back of the legs and the length you found through the spine as the vertebrae begin to open. Press through soles of feet, lead with the crown of the head as you inhale to sweep back with a straight spine back to standing. Exhale, take your hands back to Parad Heart Center, into Dasana. From here, we'll come into our Moon Goddess posture. So you might want to change your angle now so that you're standing on the long width of your mat. I'm going to continue to face towards the camera, taking my legs nice and wide. Feet are about a 45-degree turn out, maybe a little more if you have quite open hips. And then exhale, let your hands slide down the top of your thighs to rest just above your kneecap. And it's important that they're above and not resting directly on that kneecap. Make sure that you're not locking into your elbow joints, but the shoulders can come up towards your ears here. And as you exhale, again, we're playing with this idea of softening and surrendering. We'll let gravity do all the work as it brings your pelvis towards the mat and towards the floor. Good. Now you might like to stay here, or you might like to take a little bit of a flow. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, begin to twist towards your right as you press down through the palm of your left hand, looking over the right shoulder. Inhale back through center. Exhale, take it to the other side. Press through the palm of the right hand as you twist to the left, looking over left shoulder. You might like to take that a few more times, a little bit of a flow. I can feel there's a bit of a stretch as well up through my upper back. And then when you come back to center next, exhale, hips really, really heavy towards the floor. Maybe you're even taking your elbows down so that you can really sink and surrender. Broadening is always through the chest though. When you're ready to come back up, press through the soles of the feet, lengthen and straighten the legs, hands come back to hips, and then we'll simply ball and heel the feet together, back to standing. Making our way back down towards the floor now. Exhale, slowly roll down through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, releasing the hands towards the floor, and then bending the knees as much as you need to come to your toe squat. From here, just bring that weight forward onto the knees, untuck the toes. Weight comes up to the side of the heels, and we bring the legs in front of us. Simple cross-legged Sukhasana. Yeah, make sure that the cross is quite square. So often in Sukhasana, you see people with their ankles just crossing. You want your whole legs to cross. It's very simple spinal twist just to recalibrate the spine at the end of our practice. Hands come to prayer heart center. Inhale, we lift and lengthen. Exhale, we begin to twist towards our right, just using the power of our abdominal muscles. Release the right hand behind you and the left hand to the outside edge of the right knee. Inhale to grow a little taller, and then exhale, deepen the twist. Turning to look out over your right shoulder. Make sure you're not putting too much weight into the right back hand. You should be able to take it off the floor and nothing should really change in the spine. One more deep breath in. Exhale to gently release and unwind. Hands return to prayer. Inhale again to find that little bit of extra lift and lengthen. Exhale, the abdominal muscles contract and we begin to twist towards our left. When you can go no further, release the left hand behind you. Right hand onto the outside edge of the left knee. Inhale, find that little bit more length. Back of the neck is long. Exhale, deepen the twist. Turning to look over the left shoulder. Hold there for a few breaths. In and out. And then the gaze returns to the front and we exhale to slowly unwind from the twist. To finish today, we're going to come to our Viparita Karani, or our legs up the wall posture, also known as Fountain of Youth posture. So normally, as the name suggests, we would do that against a wall. But today I would actually encourage you to do it alongside a couch, a chair, or a bed. And this will become very clear as to why in just a moment. So to come into this position, I'm going to suggest that you might like to use a folded cushion or a folded blanket as a prop. But I would advise you not to do this though if you are menstruating or pregnant. If you're menstruating or pregnant, don't use this prop. Otherwise you can, it's completely fine. We want to fold it over and we're going to place it underneath our pelvis as we come up to our legs, the wall. So we come into it the same way that we normally would, bringing the side of the body nice and close to your prop, which in this case is a couch or a bed. And bring the pillow back behind you, because in a second we're going to roll back onto it. So we're going to bring those legs up. You're probably going to need to adjust, bring the soles of the feet onto the prop for a second so that you bring the cushion so it's directly underneath your pelvis and not your lower back. You might need to have a little fiddle. Then, I'm a little bit too far away from the couch, I think, so I'm just going to bring myself a little closer. But when we're ready, we'll start with bringing the legs straight up to the sky. My feet are flexed, even though you can't see them. Legs engaged. Bring your arms to that cactus shape position. Elbows lining up with shoulders, fingers pointing towards behind you. Then take a couple of breaths here, just in this slightly more active variation of the posture. A little bit of engagement through the belly. We're really letting all that tidal blood from the feet drain back down towards the heart center to be refreshed. So a really excellent restorative posture. Good one to do at the end of the day. I mean any point during the day, but particularly at the end of a hard day. Hold here for a couple of breaths. And then you can choose to stay like this if you're feeling quite comfortable here. If you have a sense of almost the thigh bone is locking into the hips, gravity's doing all the work, maybe you want to soften the feet just slightly. Or you can now relax the legs onto the couch, the end of the bed, or the end of your chair. Just so that you're really allowing the legs to completely relax, the hips to relax, and the belly to soften. But they're still raised, so we're still getting that sense of increased circulation or a refreshment of the blood, and the hips are a little bit raised as well. So you can stay in that cactus shape, or if it's more comfortable for you, beside the body palms facing up, maybe even resting in at the belly here. Make any last little wriggles or adjustments that you need to, whether that's bringing yourself closer to your prop or adjusting that cushion. You might think that the cushion's not for you and you want to move it out of the way, and that's fine. But then when you're ready, invite yourself into complete stillness. Softly close down the eyes. Begin to bring a little bit of awareness to your breath, but just using it as a vehicle for your relaxation. So that as you exhale, you can feel the back of your body sinking and melting down into the earth underneath you and into the prop beneath your legs. So I'm not holding any tension at all. The whole body is completely relaxed. And as you inhale again, we play with a sense of open space all around and above you. The air gently caressing your skin. Invite all your muscles to soften, particularly lower back, belly, heart center, back and front of neck is long and soft, shoulders relaxed, eyes gently closed, forehead relaxed, no tension being held in the body whatsoever. And if any thoughts begin to bubble up in the mind, acknowledge them, then gently press them to one side, not letting anything intrude into this moment of peace and relaxation, your Shavasana. So as you hold for these last few moments in your Shavasana, your relaxation, I'd like to share with you a few thoughts, let them settle into your mind as you rest here. We've all heard the phrase before, be the change that you want to see in the world. But this doesn't just relate to what actions you take when you're out in the world, but it's also about the changes that you make within your internal landscape. So as you rest here for a moment, I would like to encourage you to actively foster within yourself kindness, compassion, open-mindedness, love, resilience, forgiveness, strength and flexibility, and understanding, in the hope that these things and these thoughts and these ideals will settle within you, and these changes will cement within your landscape, and that you will be able to carry these changes, these energies and vibrations with you into the rest of the world and into your life to share with the people in your community. And know that if you take a stumble, if you feel like you are letting harsh or negative thoughts into your internal landscape, that you should not chastise yourself, but simply acknowledge this stumble and then keep moving forward, one step after another. And then to slowly bring yourself out of your relaxation. Take a few deep breaths in and out here, really feeling the belly rise and fall, and perhaps taking an audible exhale out through the mouth. A little bit of movement comes to fingers and toes, giving them a wriggle, feeling skin rub on skin. And then allow your head to turn from side to side, to massage through the back of the skull, and to reawaken the neck. The head returns to center. Do any last little wriggles or stretches that feel right for you. And then make your way to lie comfortably on one side, keeping the eyes closed, knees drawn towards the chest or away from your prop. And then you slowly roll over. Give yourself one last chance to re-enter the space of the room around you. And then softly and gently use your hands to help bring yourself to a comfortable seated position, whether that's kneeling or cross-legged. Hands resting at the knees. Take a a few more breaths here to acknowledge how you feel at the end of your practice. Acknowledge what has bubbled up and what has been given a chance to be processed. Take your hands to prayer at heart center. Bow your forehead down towards your fingertips. Take a moment to truly thank yourself for taking the time out of your busy day to practice yoga and to nurture and encourage this gentle practice. When you're ready, I'd like to close the practice with one chant of the mantra Om. You can join in simply by listening, but if you'd like to chant with me, we'll synchronize the breath by all exhaling here. And taking a deep breath in for Om. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for practice today. As always, I release new Hump Day Yogas every Wednesday at 9 a.m. If you enjoyed this practice, you might like to hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions or have any requests, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. But otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you digitally soon.